What's up, y'all? This NBA season, don't let an injury rule out your bet. Other sportsbooks let injuries box you out, but FANATICS Sportsbook Fair Play protects all bets from first half injury. So if your player goes down with an injury, FANATICS keeps your bet out on the court. Make the switch and get more ways to win with FANATICS Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Knicks Film School Pregame Show. My name is Andrew Claudio, and it is time to preview another Knicks matchup, this time on Friday night against the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that earlier in the season caused the first crisis point for the New York Knicks. A loss in Game 4 of the season maybe made some people react in a certain way to the Knicks losing to the Bucks, and a very good game from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Unfortunately for the Bucks, their season has not gone as expected. A lot of that has had to do with the major injury to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who may or may not be playing on Friday. We don't have the injury report at time of recording. It is 3:06 p.m. So by the time you're watching this Friday morning, you might know that Giannis is upgraded to questionable, or Shams has tweeted out that he might be coming back. I will ask my guest in just a second the expectation of whether Giannis comes back. But the Bucks will come into this matchup 26-31 on the season. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They are one game out of the 10th seed for the play-in. That they're tied in the loss column for the 8th to the 9th and 10th seed. All three of these teams, the Bucks, the Hornets, and the Hawks, all have 31 losses. So you could spin their recent play as a positive, especially if they get Giannis back. Would be very hilarious if all the consternation here in New York about the Pistons results in the Pistons losing a 1-8 matchup to said Bucks, but we'll discuss that in the future. Joining me to talk about the Bucks, and unfortunately, I just, like, no holds barred. Like, I have to have a Giannis conversation at some point in this episode.
Yeah, I know.
From the Gyro Step Podcast, the Gyro Step Podcast Network as well, where you cover all things Milwaukee sports. Ti Windisch, welcome back to Knicks Film School, sir.
Thanks for having me. You know, I can't be mad about it anymore. I after all the headlines, all the press conferences, all the interviews, it's par for the course now. It's not even just you guys anymore. Now there's like the Hornets pod could have me on and be like, hey, what do you think about our offer? Like, actually pretty good. Actually, you know what? Let's have a conversation. But I'm doing well.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. I will say, I'll go a little behind the scenes. I had asked you initially if we could try to link up for another podcast for a different New York Milwaukee trade, in which Freddie Peralta got traded to the New York Mets for two highly touted prospects. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So I will save those conversations for a different pod. Shout out to Just Mets. And I'm now going to talk to you about a guy that didn't get traded anywhere at the trade deadline, despite it becoming Giannis Palooza for my life, even though I was trying to talk about the on-court product. There were many in my circle that were like, no, let's talk about Giannis and how we could trade for him and how we could blow this team up mid-season. Let's just get your perspective on, because like I always start with the vibes in my opposing city's fan base. And I guess, like, before the season when I had you on because of the Shams report of the exclusive negotiating window, right? My thought was, okay, I don't take that seriously. We'll see how this season goes. Maybe there's a mid-season Giannis sweepstakes. Let's see how the Bucks season goes. Let's see how the Knicks season goes. 2 months, Knicks win the NBA Cup. They're 23-9 to start the season. It looked like other teams would have to get involved in the Giannis sweepstakes. Knicks go 2-9. Giannis has another calf strain. We're sitting here. Then obviously the report from his camp, which is still so vaguely worded, like the Bucks are open to listen to offers. I guess we'll start with the vibes. Like, how is Milwaukee feeling about how this season is going and has gone, and just what the last 4 months have been for you guys?
Yeah, overall, it's been terrible. It's been an abject failure. And even I think the relative pessimist, I mean, it's hard to say like they've been super below expectations given the Giannis absence. 'Cause I think, the hope was like they can be decent when he sits, but they're not going to obviously be any good when he sits. And he sat for a lot. He's missed a lot of time. They're 500 with him, which that's their real issue. Now I forget. Their record's negative without him, but I think it's like around 10-16 now, which is like, okay, like that's not maybe 11-16, like not good, but like they've really pulled it back with this 8-2 stretch, I believe, all without Giannis, when they had a really awful stretch earlier in the season when like Portland came in and embarrassed them and all these other games where it's like, I get you're not going to win every game with Giannis out, but can you be competitive? They've been a lot better lately. It seems like there's been some steps forward taken with finally all this time without him. But still, it felt horrible. I'd say, though, post-deadline, so like this winning streak helps, like seeing them win games helps. But he doesn't get traded. And ultimately, it doesn't seem like anyone got all that close midseason. And he posts the thing about like, I'm not leaving, like, you know, I attract, I don't, you know, chase or whatever. And I really kind of think, I think it was all real enough. And I think he does have somewhat of a wandering eye, but I also do think he's like a romantic about the city, and they're going to figure out a way to do something that gets him to sign up for the ungodly amount of money that I do think there's some teams, maybe not the Knicks, maybe the Knicks, who are like, the full extension plus all of our stuff. Like, I'm not sure. Whereas the Bucks are going to bang the table with the credit card and be like, please let us swipe. Like, we'll pay you all the money we can. And Giannis loves money, as we've seen with some of his partnerships recently. So
I
feeling
don't know if you wanted
okay.
to bring up the Kelsey.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was real, though, because that's the other, like, was this all about? I don't think it was like, you know, him drumming up the value of that service, to be clear. Like, I think this has been a real thing that he's really went back and forth on, dating back to like 2020 before they got Drew, and he extended them.
Gotcha. Just for those who are unaware of what we're referring to, so the Giannis sweepstakes happened. There's reports left and right about this team potentially sending an offer, the Miami Heat getting involved, the Portland Trail Blazers, which was very funny to see people important and think that they would be the team that gets Giannis. No, you have the assets that another team can trade for to then get Giannis. There's a Warriors conversation. There are many a team, obviously the New York Knicks, that will be interested in the Giannis sweepstakes at the end of the season, but tried to get into it mid-season.
Minnesota was the other big one.
Minnesota, that's right. Which Jaden McDaniels, I would think about that if I'm with the Milwaukee, if I'm the Bucks, and it's like we can build around Jaden and get your picks. You know, that's not a bad.
So they don't have picks. That's the thing.
They don't have.
So they don't have any first.
So they would trade Jaden. That's right. They would trade Jaden to Portland to get those picks.
Yeah.
And then,
so I think they had the same issue that the Knicks ultimately had, which is, okay, I want Jaden McDaniels and I want picks, and now I have to pick. So, like, can you turn Gobert Randall into picks? Like, probably not really. Like, maybe like one, you know what I mean? Maybe a little, depending on the team. But I think ultimately, like, the Portland thing is instructive. I think Giannis put out, like, I don't really want to go to Portland, which duh. But, okay, if we're sending all of our assets that we're getting for Giannis come from Portland, well, why don't we just trade with Portland? And I think there is kind of there's an answer there. Giannis doesn't want to go to Portland, but I do think, I think neither team had enough stuff to add to, you know what I mean, what they could send to Portland. It was too dependent on the Portland stuff. But anyway. Right.
So it's ironic that we're recording this. So again, today's Thursday, February 26th. Tonight is our monthly Knicks Film School Town Hall. Once a month, we get together with a bunch of our patrons and we do a Zoom call, just hang out with a bunch of people that are very generous with their contributions.
Sign up to the Patreon, folks.
Please, the link is in the description. Sign up for Patreon. We have plenty of bonus content and, of course, our monthly town hall, which will have already happened by the time people are watching this. But join us for the
next one.
The March town hall, please do. The last town hall we had was at the end of January, which I think the Drew Holiday, Knicks' interest in Drew Holiday report had come out. And like the Knicks were about to play Portland, so I reached out to our friend Danny Meringue for a pod. And what that town hall devolved into was, let's just explore the spot track trade machine and just blow this team up. Like, we had Deuce McBride in Portland. We had Jordan Clarkson in New Orleans. We had Mikal Bridges somewhere else. We had the whole team was blown up. And it was just, let's see if we could come up with a team. We had one that made sense, but other markets were going to have to like our offers. And it seems as if Portland recognizes that, like, they have some golden tickets, like they have control over Milwaukee's draft. So Mikal Bridges is not the thing that they would want back, nor OG Anunoby, nor Karl-Anthony Towns, which had me land on the Knicks probably just aren't the team mid-season to get this done. Yeah. Especially when they get to the summer, they can offer 2 picks. Miami can get to the summer and offer 4 picks. Like, just the offers are going to be better. The other part of this that I've wanted to talk to you about really since the deadline, I'm not an insider, but I know things. I hear things, Ty. All I was hearing was Milwaukee might be buyers at the deadline. They might get in the Drew Holiday sweepstakes. They might be in the Trae Young sweepstakes. They might look to put another piece next to, did I say Ja Morant?
No,
who did I say?
I think they definitely, you said Trae and Drew, which I don't think
Drew, my bad. I didn't mean Drew. I meant Ja Morant. Sorry. The J's threw me off. The J and the Drew. The Ja Morant sweepstakes. They might try to get in on getting a point guard next to Giannis and once again showing him, hey, we're going to build around you. And I think that could be an option this offseason, that they go get Ja Morant. He extends. Get more picks too. And then there you go. So in your mind, what is more likely to happen this offseason? Giannis gets traded, and I'll say this respectfully, finally, because I'm of the perspective that I've been hearing about his next destination when the next destination hasn't come yet. Or do you think they put another piece around him this offseason?
I think it's a little more likely he stays and they put another piece around him. I think like the week of the deadline, he gave interviews to both of the main beat reporters here, basically saying like, I want to win. I want to win here. I'm not sure it's possible. I'm not sure that's what the franchise wants. And the way he made the posts and stuff on Thursday, when he doesn't have to say anything, right? Like, I don't think you're mandated to make a statement after you're not traded at the deadline. I think that everything was kind of clear and said. My interpretation of that was the Bucks were like, hey, in case you're not sure, we'll have 3 picks of whatever we fall this year plus 2 future now and 1 or 2 swaps. We're going to try and go get more help. Like we're going to re-up this thing, you know, hopefully get a new coach as well, which would be, I think, honestly, a huge improvement even with the current roster. But, you know, can we slide out Kuzma and Portis for 1, 2, 3 more pieces that fit better? And then I think, you know, they're in a pretty good spot. The best big involved in a trade between the Bucks and Knicks right now, Jericho Sims, who's been phenomenal lately, by the way. If you want to talk about
at 11 and 11 last night. Yeah.
Career high 5 assists the game before. He's closing games
Jericho
right now.
Sims,
Plus 9.5 net in February with Sims on, best on the team. They just throw him lobs constantly. It's great. But I think it's slightly more likely, but still he could go. I mean, it's going to be up to him / a little bit up to, I think the West, 3 teams in the West could all have the best offer if they desire. I don't think it'll be the Spurs, but you have to include them just because all the stuff they have. I just think they're going to be like, no, we don't care. We're ahead of schedule. But does Houston or Thunder go out early enough to say, you know what, we'll trade a core piece and picks? And then I think if you're the Bucks, I don't think they'd just outright trade him if he was down to come back. But I think you have to really like, wait, we could get J-Dub and stuff, or we could get Amen and stuff, or maybe Şengün. I'd be higher on Amen. But we're just talking like a different asset class level than, no offense, like Mikal, who I really like. I have Mikal and OG takes, by the way. But I think that's just a different conversation.
Yeah. First of all, no offense taken. I did the exercise. I see what the Knicks assets are. They're not. The Knicks made multiple all-in trades for 2 years.
You're right.
And at a certain point, now going all in for Giannis doesn't have the same appeal when, all right, we can offer you this Washington first that becomes 2 seconds. We can offer you like 2 future firsts, like multiple presidential administrations from now this summer. Like, I understand that other teams with younger players with a pick right now, potentially, but we haven't said Atlanta yet. Atlanta gets the 3 pick and it's like build around, or let's just go all the way in. Atlanta gets the 2 pick and it's like AJ DeBancer or Darren Peterson. You get to build around one of those guys and you get your own pick, which will probably, if the Bucks end up in the lottery, like that's a second lottery pick. We'll build around Giannis and Jalen Johnson. And like there's that asset that's out there. Look, I've made it clear, or I think Giannis has actually made it clear more so than me, that the Knicks path is he has to mess it up, like muck it up a bit.
Yeah.
I just don't think Giannis is going to do that, No,
I think we got evidence a little bit that he won't, because he was kind of shadow approved denying destinations, it seemed like, or his camp, I should say, during the week. Like, we found out Golden State got kind of I think a fake excuse thumbs down. Like the reasoning, the report that came out of there was like, oh, he doesn't want to be overshadowed by Steph. I think he looked at that roster and like, what me, ancient Steph, and the next best player is Melton? Like, no thanks. Like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm good. And I think Portland got a thumbs down again. Like, had my time with Drew and Dame. Like, don't need to play with both of them as they get older and older. But Minnesota got a big thumbs up, was all the reporting. Like, he'd be interested in playing with Ant. And I think Minnesota getting a thumbs up tells you it's not a big market thing. He just actually wants to compete somewhere. I think he likes New York, but if you're open to Minnesota, I think your priorities are kind of clear. No offense to the great state of Minnesota. And I think Miami got kind of a thumbs up too, because he shares the agency with Bam. And I think he has a lot of respect for Spo and their culture. But I think he made it clear, though, to me that those three getting it like a somewhat approval from someone, his rogue agent we've been joking about or whatever it is. He's like, I can't control. It's like, yeah, he works for you. You kind of can, but I digress. So I think you're right that he's not going to say it's New York or anything. I think like that's why I don't think Atlanta's live anymore. They've been too mid. Like, what? I'm going to trade for one game up in the standings. Like, I'm going to give up everything I built here in Milwaukee to go play there. Like, I don't know if it's that of interest to him anymore.
Yeah. I guess my only thought was putting him with Jalen Johnson. Suddenly that's something you build around, They also have the, do they have, no, the New Orleans pick that they traded for is the one that they're about. They would have had to trade for you.
They've got another one. They've got another, the next year, I think they have the worst of Bucks Pels, but it's top 5 protected. It's really weird.
Yeah. Those protections.
Also, there's some crazy ones. I wanted to mention on Portland, this is just a brief clarification, but as you build these packages going forward, they don't really control the Bucks draft anymore. Washington messed it up in 2 different trades. So the Bucks double mortgaged their 28 swap with the Wizards. So even if they got, or their first, so even if they got control of that back or that swap, actually, it is a swap. Wizards could then come in too in like a multi-team thing. So Portland can't just give Milwaukee that pick back outright. The Wizards are involved. And then the 29 first, Portland only owns the first best of, oh my God, I'm sorry. Portland, Milwaukee, Boston, I think. Wizards own the second one as part of another deal that was, I think it's Denny Avdia deal, actually. So Portland could only trade the best one. So they could do that to Milwaukee, but then they only have the third best of those 3. So if Portland sucks that year, that's a tough pill to swallow for them. So it's a little more complex now with all the bonus swaps that all these teams have done.
I'll be completely honest with you. When it gets to like
I know
the worst, best, least favorite of,
it's crazy
with those 3 different teams and protections. I get to a point where I'll when it gets to that year, I'll refresh Tankathon and let them.
You kind of need to. Some of them I still don't understand. Like there's some I look at and I'm like, this actually doesn't even make. All you need to know is Portland can't just give Milwaukee unprotected first back. They only had one in the first place, but it's more.
I knew it wasn't unprotected first. I just knew that if the Knicks wanted to get involved in the Giannis sweepstakes, they would have to trade with Portland. Last thing on this specifically, I want to ask. We've talked about what Giannis might want, what the organization might want. How do you feel? How do Bucks fans feel? Do you want just like this to be over and like begin the next chapter? Or is there still like, we want Giannis to finish his career here. Let's go get another piece this offseason. How does the fan base feel about all of this?
We want Giannis. I think broadly, we want Giannis to stay here. And I think, because like the Knicks, they've made these all-in trades already. The rebuild to me is I'm a sicko. I'm a front office sicko. Like I'd love to explore like how can we leverage buying second round picks to take more swings? Like I'd love all this crap. But from a pure like what's better to do right now, like they have some solid pieces, not great. Obviously, Giannis is a great piece, but outside of that, it's like here and there, some young guys that maybe they're hitting on. But after this year, you don't control your draft for like 4 or 5 years in a row. So trying to rebuild it, it's going to be really, you need to really get knock it out of the park on the return to have any sort of a chance, I think, to be good in like the next 5 years. So then if you don't knock it out, like if the worst thing for the Bucks happen, it's like we take back Karl Towns and 4 second round picks for Giannis. I mean, you're kind of just in the wilderness for 5 years. It's like, hopefully we can be a play-in team. Hopefully Rollins and KPJ and these guys really develop. We have some second-round hits. Jeng becomes a guy, Usman Jeng. But we don't control our pick until 31 at that point. That's just really hard to me. It's like a really starting from behind the 8 ball on a rebuild. And it's honest. Like, I'd rather win with your guy. He got us our first championship in 50 years, the most important player in franchise history. You know, we can overlook all these dalliances if he's actually here at the end of the day. That's what really matters.
Do the calf strains scare you? Do the recent stretch of injuries scare you? Okay.
Yeah,
do you think that brings the price down, or do you think that doesn't matter to teams?
I think the way to be cold here, I think the way the asset works, the price can only drop so low before Milwaukee's just like, no, we can't.
Right.
And I think he is the caliber of player that, and this was my thought. I actually thought he was going to, I thought at one point, like the week before, I really thought he was going to get moved by the deadline based on everything that came out. Like, this caliber of player just doesn't become available. I mean, he's not 35, right? He's like 31, I think now. And still clearly MVP form. Like, when he played, he was incredible. And he was playing through it. Like, he was trying to help the team get back on track, which was dumb. They should not have let him. You know, their franchise right now has been weak, I think, organizationally. You just can't get guys like this, though. So I think someone would come out with a big enough offer to make it happen. Like, this is no disrespect to former Buck, but this is not like the Dame thing. Like, This is a different level where I think someone would emerge with an offer that you'd consider good enough.
Especially a desperate team, which is, like, that's another way that the Knicks get involved, is that, like, teams get scared away because of Giannis's recent stretch of calf strains. And then, like, well, we want to blow this team up this offseason. So, like, there's a version of
we'll do it.
The Knicks that loses in the first or second round and is like, fine, we will go as all in as we need to, and we'll potentially see what we will have a conversation this offseason if it happens, of course. Hopefully it's not when either of us are on a vacation or anything like that, because I would very much
I'm just not going to take one. I've learned my lesson.
I hear you. I hear you.
My thing with your team generally is my hottest Knicks take is if you just dropped one of OG or Mikal from the team, they would be better. And not because those guys are bad, but because I think both of them are kind of underused in their current roles. And it's like, I think that's been one of the reasons they haven't necessarily fully clicked. It's like both of those guys are more like a 2.5. And right now they're more like co-3.5s. And I just think you're actually like, your honey is too sweet. You know what I mean? Like, your roster is too abundant. That's my stupidest Knicks take. AKA give one of the Bucks for free.
So give one to the Bucks for free. I think there are a lot of people that would agree with you, but not that if you just dropped one of them, it's that if you dropped Mikal Bridges. Look, I don't think Mikal Bridges, for what he is, has been a bad Knick this year. I think he disappears at times, which is frustrating. Yeah. He's a 4th or 5th option on some nights, and in a read and react offense, it just leads to him sometimes not being factored in, sometimes being factored in too much. If he was just a 4th option on some nights, I think you'd look at his impact metrics, you'd look at what he is defensively, shooting 38% from 3. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's a solid piece, rotation player. You traded your entire draft.
Yeah, that's their issue. It's the sunk cost thing. Yeah,
yeah. It's just an impossibility to be like we've had a conversation the last couple of days. The most of the emphasis with the starting 5 for the Knicks is that Josh Hart needs to be the one that leaves the starting 5. You go to a 5 outlook, a full 5 outlook, or you go to double bigs with Mr. Robinson, right? And there's been some pushback. Honestly, I'm part of that pushback that it's like, what if it's Mikal that's the one that leaves the starting 5? And like, you look at some of the lineup data and like Mikal off and like Shamet in, lineups are great. Mikal off, Deuce McBride in, lineups are great. That it's not just a Josh Hart issue. It's a like sometimes Mikal Bridges disappears issue. And yeah, I think you're hinting at some of the frustration with Mikal, but Fred Katz wrote an article today that I think summarized this team's just entirely too inconsistent to be something you can depend on. One game they'll look like, oh yeah, that's a team that could win the East. One game they'll look like, oh yeah, that's a team that will get upset in the first round by Philly or Toronto or whatever team they might play. And that's why there was a sentiment about a month ago that we should just blow up this whole thing for Giannis.
Yeah.
That's why there was a sentiment earlier last week, about a week ago when they played Detroit. Shout out to Mr. Macri.
I think you're onto it. And I literally think I think it's a less than the sum of their parts situation, specifically for the wings on the team. Like, I think Brunson is Brunson. That's fine. Same for the bigs. Like, Cat, kind of flawed, but I think we get the value there. And I think it doesn't have to be Cat specifically, but you kind of need someone like Cat because Robinson just the availability. Like, I don't think you can just have him be your center with like a vet minimum guy. Like, the games played in minutes is just an issue there. But I think the wings, it's like you have Hart and the OG and McHale, and then like Shamet, who I think has been like a bizarrely good Knick that nobody nationally. Every time I watch, I'm like, Shamet. I'm like, is Shamet just better than McHale? There's times in the playoffs where it felt that way, which I don't fully believe. But man, that guy's really gaming for the Knicks lately. And it just feels like it's actually too much. Like, I think if you look just player for player, I don't think you can really make a case that anyone in the East has a better like 5 or 6 man like best players group, right? Like, if you just go down and compare them, like Detroit, I love Detroit. We'll get to where I have them ranked and everything, but there's just no way. I mean, Cade's great, Duran's great. Then we're like comparing Tobias to OG Anunoby or whoever you want to put there. Like, it doesn't really hold up. I just think it's not, you're getting less because you almost have too much. And my thing is, I don't think the Knicks would just trade McHale to the Bucks, right? Like, again, because of everything you gave up, you can't just be like, oh, we'll take a future first back. Like, it would look dumb, and franchise shouldn't operate that way, but I think they do. Like, I don't think they want to be like, we bought him for 5 first, we sold him for 2. But if they traded for like someone else, if they don't get Giannis, but they go find an upgrade and he goes, I really want the Bucks to try and do what the Celtics did with Drew and just sit like one team away and snipe. Because I think he would be absolutely perfect for what the Bucks need. The availability is huge. Like, after going through the Middleton thing, and they just have like no wing players. So having him be the wing player, I think he would probably look a little better than right now, where he's just like, he's not the toughest wing player. He's not the biggest because you have OG. He's not the most offensively one. He's kind of just there sometimes.
I think if they traded him for 2 picks, there would be no complaints other than like when he plays poorly. But there'd be no complaints about Mikal Bridges. It's very much just the pivot or the upgrade is just so much more difficult because they traded 5 picks for you, which, to be fair, is not his fault. Like, he did not say trade 5 picks for me. So that's where I think the frustration usually lies, is that you were supposed to be one of the final pieces and technically are, but it's just not, it hasn't had the ceiling I think a lot of people have wanted during the regular season. And I say all of that to be like, I'm more of an optimist. This team can absolutely still win the finals. Like, I'm not as frustrated by the regular season and the experimentation that they go through. If they win 13 more games this season, they go 13-10 the rest of the year, they'll have won 50 games for 3 straight seasons. You tell Andrew Claudio in 2019 that the Knicks are going to win 50 games in 3 straight seasons, I would have told you, oh, so life's going to be very good and enjoyable. And it's like, no, everybody will be miserable by that 3rd season, apparently. So back to the Bucks for a second. We talk about this game on Friday night.
Yes.
Is this the game Giannis returns? As we talked about Giannis, you hinted at that beforehand. And again, I said at the top, we're talking before the injury report comes out. Maybe it came out during this pod and we get to find out. Do you expect Giannis to play Friday? And if not, well, in fact, I shouldn't even ask that question because people will probably know already what the injury report is.
It's not out yet, by the way.
So as a result of Giannis potentially coming back, whether it's Friday or the future, like, what's the goal for the rest of the season? What does a disappointing season end to the season look like? Does it, like, are you still invested in the play-in race and potentially like making a run like the Heat did a couple years ago?
Yeah, a bit. It's kind of like, it's really all about perspective this season. Because I think if they flame out, you could be an optimist and say they're going to have their best pick since Thon, at least when they picked 10 in 2016. And if they make the play-in, it's like, okay, this is like building some momentum, and that this probably helps you keep Giannis. Maybe, I don't know how much it helps you, but he'd be happier playing high leverage basketball in April than he would not doing that, even though like the value of the pick is apparent, right? And jumping in the lottery and all this stuff. But even later, like, it seems like it's a pretty deep draft, like a good top 10. So even there'd be a lot of value. They were like 9th before, but as you mentioned, I think up top, They're right there now. They're 11th, but tied in the loss column with 10-9 and owning tiebreakers over the Hornets, 1 win away from owning them against Atlanta, Miami, and Orlando. 1 win each. I know Orlando's probably looking a little too optimistically, but we'll see. They've had a weird season. So I'm invested in the play-in run. I think it'd be fun and good for this team because while the goal, I think the perfect optimist goal would be, you make a trade and kind of add talent to really compete again next year with Giannis. You're not going to trade every player on the roster. And so if you can really make this run, it has to mean, especially because you're overcoming Doc Rivers, that players are taking a step forward and kind of building something that they can take forward with them. And I do think, they don't need to overload everything that they've got going on. You really look at the Kuzma, who will be expiring, which is nice, and Portis spots. And you can combine those to get in the $40 million range. So can you drop a good $40 million wing player, ideally, because they just have none again. And then you have Rollins, Porter Jr., Green, Giannis, X-Wing, Miles Turner, everything else that's already there. Sims, who's been a good backup 5 legitimately. Then it feels like you kind of have something. And one free agent, whatever, you're getting close. So I would like them to make a run, be a competent team, and then see can we be the guys who push Detroit with all their shooting issues and they haven't won the series? I'm assuming they'd be 8. I don't think I'd pick the Bucks in the series because Detroit looks awesome, but that's been little brother for the last few years. It'd make a cool story for the Pistons, I guess. That was how they started off their playoffs.
Rooting for it, by the way, just for shits and giggles, just to see Detroit literally win their Super Bowl 3 times when they've played the Knicks, and then suddenly, it didn't even make it to the second round. That's interesting. It'd
be very Bucks.
It'd be which would be funny if they what happened
they
to
were
them
the other
a couple
way.
years ago with the Heat, and then they do it to the they become the 8th seed that makes the run. You've now mentioned Doc Rivers a couple times this pod, and I don't know if we've ever discussed this. I think he's the most overrated coach in NBA history. I think Kevin Garnett and Tom Thibodeau won a title in 2008 with that Celtics team, anchoring a defense. They went 7 in the first round with the 37-45 Hawks, best team in the NBA. And then they went 7 with LeBron and the LeBronettes in the second round. And then went 6-6 in the next 2 rounds and was just 2 below the minimum for a team that won 66 games. Should have dominated throughout the postseason. And that's the claim to him being a top 14 coach ever, or whatever the list was when they did top 75.
Yeah. It's a Hall of Fame finalist this year, which I always find funny. They'll just they put the coaches in at any point.
Right. Well, Bill Belichick's learning literally any point right now.
Yeah. Or not
I'm going to give you the floor to say what your frustrations and how frustrating it's been with Doc as the head coach this season.
Yeah, I feel like he's devolved really. But maybe I do think one of the things he's good at is weirdly an underman team he gets a lot out of. And they've been, that's kind of been the hallmark of the Bucks. That first Pacers series, Giannis was out and ended. The other guys went out too. And they're playing lineups at the 5 with Danilo Gallinari for some reason as their 5 and kind of hanging in there. And it was okay, kind of pushed them. But then the full season products have gotten worse and worse. And I think they brought in Dave Buckner from Cleveland to be their defensive guy. They have one of the most incoherent defenses you'll ever see. I mean, last game in the fourth quarter, really tight game against the Cavs. They just forget to pick up Jalen Tyson, who's shooting a mere 46.4% from 3 this year. Wide open 3, cans it. Randomly, AJ Green is guarding Jared Allen, and Turner's running out to the perimeter to cover guards. Jericho Sims picked up 80, 90 feet against Miami for some reason. He was guarding Jaime Jaquez, and they just told him do full court, and it didn't bite them. But that, and the Bucks broadcast was oh, how fun is that? It's not fun for me. That's not fun for me. That's a dumb thing to do. They do stuff like this all the time. They don't pressure actual shooters. They'll go over screens and press non-shooters for whatever reason and give up the back end of their defense. So, he's really bad. And he's gotten this thing now. He's confrontational with the media, which it's not exactly New York media. It's 3 people who ask questions at the Bucks. He'll cut them off and be rude to the beat reporters and everything. It's listen, man, we're all frustrated. No one's been that rude in these media sessions to Doc, but he's this week he said, first he said Giannis has to do 5-on-5, then he can come back. Then he said, he's just done 4-on-4, but he could just come back from that and not do 5-on-5. And so they asked, like, okay, what does he have to do to come back? It's like, I don't know. I haven't checked in. Really doesn't matter. Sometimes 4-on-4, sometimes 5-on-5. Who cares? Like, it's kind of the whole franchise. I mean, can we have a plan here? Can we know what's going on here? Whatever. So yeah, it's been pretty bad. I'd say it's been pretty bad. The rotations aren't good. Pretty much everything bad. The offense isn't very good. And he's he's a good talker, but he's been frustrated lately. So not happy.
Not happy. Do you think he's done at the end of the year no matter what?
I hope so. I think I heard Zach Lowe mention to Simmons, like, keep a spot open next year for him, which I'm hoping means there's kind of a word out there. Clearly they're not going to do it mid-season, because I think we've probably, this is famous last words, but probably passed like the lowest point in the year by now. Because I think the expectation is gone. Like, they really, when the thought was they could still be a real playoff team, and they're just blowing all these games, and he's doing so bad and having all these bad quotes, they just refuse to do it. And now we're basically to March. So I'm hoping that the goal is, like, get through this year, 1 year left, and then cut him loose to go do ESPN and stuff. But yeah, if he comes back, I just kind of think the Giannis era is sunk, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
it could be worse. There, take that as your lesson.
It could be worse. Yeah. I think Knicks fans listening to this can, I guess, appreciate where they are. This is where I usually turn the pod over to my guest. You gave your biggest Knicks hot take about Mikal and OG. I'm getting to the point where I'm, like, making the choice every day to choose to like this team. Like, it's like it's like your marriage. Like, you got to choose every day to, like, pick your partner. And I'm
sound like Giannis now.
I'm choosing every day to like the Knicks. Like, no, you want to know what it is? I was on vacation last week when all the outrage was happening, and I pulled up my phone, and somebody tweeted out a clip from 2019 of, like, it was a DeAndre Jordan. He hit a cutting Kevin Knox going to the rim, and Kevin Knox posterized somebody on any team. I forget what it was, but, like, that was DeAndre Jordan on the Knicks passing it to Kevin Knox on the Knicks, like rookie Kevin Knox, who threw it down on a dunk, and he's getting mobbed after the dunk by Emmanuel Mudiay and Mario Hezonja and Alonzo Trier. I just, like, I will not complain about the current Knicks. That's where I came from, man. I cannot complain about a team that's going to win 50 games again, even if they are maddening to watch at times. Do you have any other Knicks takes or Knicks questions as I now turn the pod over to you?
I think they were always going to be in kind of a tough spot this year. I mean, the East is pretty open. I don't mean that way, but in, like, terms of, like, their season narrative, because you do put the new team in a pressure cooker when you fire Tibbs after that season, right? Like, I think that was always kind of coming, and it's gone better than the Bucks when they fired Budenholzer, which I think we've drawn these comps before. It's certainly a lot better. Well, record-wise, pretty similar, but they fired the guy, which looks worse and worse every day of a decision. But we knew Mike Brown wasn't going to flame out the way Griffin did. There's obviously more of a track record there. But yeah, I think for them, they are one of those teams where I could see them just, like, they kind of figure it out. I feel like they're going to get punched relatively early in the playoffs, but I think they'll respond pretty well. And I think Lowe's brought this up recently. Like, you forget, like, they were just going to beat the Celtics, who felt unkillable after they won the title. And they were beating them, and then Tatum gets hurt and they still beat them. But, like, they had the series. Like, they were beating the best team, and they lost, like everyone lost to Indiana on these incredible, like, frankly, BS plays that they just made over and over. I think Indiana was going to win a title doing that until Halliburton went down. Like, they were right there in Game 7. So it's hard not to kind of be like, just get healthy with the main guys to the playoffs, and then let's roll the ball out. And all these things that are, like, inconsistencies that manifest over a season, like, maybe it won't matter as much in the playoffs. I'm not sure. But I think I would be an optimist too if I were you, especially now being here where the Bucks are. We got a shot, and right now we're, knock on wood, we're pretty healthy. Like, let's just go see. I mean, the finals are right there for us. And if you get to the finals, anything is. I've heard people say like, oh, the East team's going to get shellacked. Like, do you remember literally last year? Like, it doesn't happen that way. It's usually a pretty good series. There's examples, but I think it'd be a good finals if the Knicks made it.
So knocking on all the wood.
Yeah. Knock on
it. The health thing has come up in every playoffs that it's I honestly tell you this, like it's the healthiest team that usually gets to the finals. I think what you're hinting at with like just see what happens, and who knows if this team like turns it around come playoff times. And when I say turn it around, I mean starts playing with some consistency. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is that 2 years ago just broke everybody's brain in the Big Apple. Like that team with Hartenstein and DiVincenzo and Anunoby and really the post-Randall injury team just won this city's heart. And not to get full like New York on you, but it's just you gave us a team that their mantra was we work hard despite all obstacles. You take someone off
the Cavs series.
So like I'm talking the year after, like that Sixers series. But
they
had already traded RJ and RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. They're just every night the way we win games is with this Villanova mentality of these guys that won a couple national titles. Jalen Brunson's awesome. And we're trying harder than the other team. We're not always the better team. We're not always the more talented team. We're trying harder. And you could argue that's how they got the 2 seed. That's how they beat like Embiid and Maxey averaging 30 points in a series. We're about to play the Celtics until Anunoby got hurt. And then, like that was a team that lost a game 7 at home to the Pacers by like 20 something points and got a standing ovation from Madison Square Garden's crowd. Like that team won a lot of hearts over. And now you have a team that tries to win on talent. It's just a different mentality or something to enjoy. And it's funny. And I'm about to get the chance to do this. I won't be able to do this with the Timberwolves pod, but like the Knicks are playing the Thunder in a couple weeks or maybe next week. And I'm going to get to ask like, so what do you guys think of Hartenstein? Like to Andrew Schlecht. And he's going to be like, oh yeah, he's a good, solid, like backup center, starting center. Like I'm glad he's on our team. The reverence in which Knicks fans talk about Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's like, oh, I want my boy back. You took my boy away from me. We need our warrior back. And the way that Knicks fans talk about those two players, it's just very funny. Then you ask like, with the teams that employ them now, they're like, oh yeah, I like Dante DiVincenzo. I just think 2 years ago broke everybody's brain is what happened.
Maybe that's your summer if it goes wrong. Because I think he's probably on their list of like cap cut guys when the extensions kick in over there.
Believe me, I'm aware. I just like, if Mitchell Robinson doesn't come back, do they go get Hartenstein? Do they explore the Bridges market, like you said, and then see if even look, the amount of poor Jeremy Cohen, our cap guy, the amount of like, can we get Devo back? That gets thrown his way. And I hear his frustration. It's like we as a society need to move on from former Knicks.
Yeah, I feel that way about like Drew and them too. Like younger Drew
that get brought up a lot, Drew Holiday?
A little bit. Yeah, because I have all the good memories and everyone on Portland you feel is vaguely available. So
Wow.
But I think I want new players and available players. That's you mentioned it, right? But seeing all these playoff runs just totally crap out. Like you look at McHale's games played, it's just like, yeah, I want that guy. I'll take that guy. Disappear means one thing, like disappear from the actual box
not
score
play
entirely. Yeah, it's like a whole nother. It's even worse, actually.
Thank you for the perspective. I hope any Knicks fans that were yelling the other night after the Cavs lost to blow it up hear you. Last question.
I think they shouldn't. I think they should blow it up. Send them somewhere that'll.
You think they should blow it up specifically to Milwaukee, but not for Giannis, is what you're saying.
Yeah. You need
last question. I put this on the rundown. Rank the top 4 teams in the East in order of team you most likely think will win the conference.
I've got Detroit number 1. And I don't know if I think that's probably not as bold as it used to be. And I don't think their talent matches New York's talent. And really, I think it's pretty close actually, but probably doesn't match Cleveland's talent. But just the way they play right now, I mean, they've got that kind of just the juice, I guess. I think their physicality takes teams by surprise. I mean, you mentioned like the Knicks trying to be more of a talent than a heart team. I think that's a lot of the East right now. And I think Detroit is really built on that. I'm totally worried legitimately that like first game of the playoffs, beef stews are going to take them out of a series and it's going to cost them. I think that's a legit thing to worry about with this team. The emotions are going to run so high. And also, I think the way they fought your Knicks last playoffs, I know the thing has been like they haven't won a series. They were in a series, though. Like, they felt the playoffs to me in a way that I think they're going to be okay. And I think Cade is like that good. Duran's that good. And Tobias is having such a great year. So I really like what Detroit's done and their track record. I mean, they've beaten everybody in the East. They've beaten everybody in the league, and they've won the most. So I like them. I'd probably give it to the Knicks over the Cavs as my 2 and 3.
Boston's your 4.
Yeah, Boston's my 4. I think it's nice what they're doing. I'm assuming now that they'll maybe get Tatum, and he'll. It's not going to be Tatum, right? Like, if you drop in healthy Tatum, my answer's a lot different. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll be kind of maybe a super role player, if anything. I did not like the Vooch trade for them. I'm just low on Vooch generally. And I just think eventually, like, they, to me, are one of these teams that, and maybe Indiana proved this is wrong, but the way they play, I don't know if it's playoff ball, right? Like, we're just going to we're going to play the possession game, and, we're not going to turn the ball over, and we're going to shoot all these threes and never get to the line. I don't love the way that translates to the playoffs. I think the Cavs and Knicks are more talented. So I'd probably say Pistons, Knicks, Cavs, because Harden in the playoffs. Like, what are we doing? Talking ourselves into this again. And then Celtics. I have Celtics 4. Live, but 4.
I think but we talked about this last night on a pod, me and DJ Zulo. The Pistons argument for me is, like, we haven't seen a team go from no major roster changes and they made the playoffs the year before to then make the finals the next year. I'm trying to find the example. The one I came up with was the Jason Kidd Nets, but I literally just called them the Jason Kidd Nets. Like, they got Jason Kidd and then made it to the finals. But, like, that's my only argument is history. Like, the regular season sample backs up your ranking. That at this point, it's Detroit should be number 1 and an unassailable number 1. And we'll see if that bears out in the postseason. Ty,
I could see it going the other way. I'm not, like, convinced they're going to win the East, but I just like them the most right now because I think I guess the Celtics have had the next best season to date, but I'm just a little, I don't know. Maybe I just don't like them and it's implicit bias, but I'm just not fully buying what they've done.
They have a tough schedule down the stretch. I want to ask myself this same question April 1st, because by then there's like 5-6 games left. All the tough schedules and strength of schedules won't matter, and we'll be able to actually see where teams are jockeying for positioning. My new hope is that Milwaukee gets the 8 seed and knocks out Detroit in the first round anyway, so I won't have to worry.
I'd love 7, but I'm not going to get too high on my own supply here. We might end up
play the Knicks you might play the Knicks in the first round. I need you to take out Detroit is what I'm hinting at here.
I don't know if we have it to take out anybody, man. We'll see. we'll see, but I wouldn't pencil in a Bucks take out somebody else at this current moment.
Got it. Well, again, the optimist, as we've established.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist that Giannis, the best thing he could do for the Knicks franchise, maybe ever, is taking out Detroit this year. And I'll take that over a Giannis trade at this point. I lied, by the way. If Giannis becomes a Knick, I'll figure out a way to root for Giannis. Ty, thank you so much for joining me for another edition of the Knicks Film School Pregame Show. Before you get out of here, please let the fine folks at home know where they can find you and all of your work.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ti Windisch, TiWindisch. And then wherever you consume this great podcast on audio platforms or on YouTube, the Gyro Step is there as well. So check us out for Bucks coverage and all things Giannis. I'm sure a lot of you already tuned in earlier this month around the deadline to get some thoughts, and probably will again this summer. So we welcome you all, no matter your team affiliation. If you want the Giannis gossip reaction, we've got it. We've got too much of it.
Too much. Listen, we've got it, and we've got too much.
Yeah, everyone's got too much of it
here at Knicks Film School.
We do talk basketball as well, to be clear.
Listen, I'm glad we spent the other half of the pod talking about basketball. Ty, it was good to see you. Thank you for joining me. And thank you to everybody for tuning in for another edition of the Knicks Film School Pregame Show. If you dug it, iTunes, Spotify, leave a 5-star rating. If you're watching, like this video, remember to subscribe. I will be back on Sunday when the Knicks play a matinee against the San Antonio Spurs, the third time they will play the Spurs this year, even though the NBA and James Dolan only want to acknowledge two of them. That's right. That NBA Cup happened, folks. I'm not letting it go. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'll speak with you soon. Peace.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.